Hello, you're watching Stretford Paddock. We are here for the Man United versus Colchester team news. It has been announced 1 minute ago. Apparently, we have got Sergio Romero, Young, Twanzebe, Maguire, Shaw, Matic, Andreas, Greenwood, Mata, Rashford, Martial. I'll go through that one more time. We've got Sergio Romero in net, Ashley Young, Axel Twanzebe, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw as in the defence. We've got a midfield of Matic, Andreas and Mata, and then we have Greenwood, Rashford and Martial. So it's a very strong team, a lot stronger than a lot of people were assuming would play tonight. I think it's obvious that Solskjaer wants to win this one. Let me know what you think of the team, because I think a lot of people were thinking we might see something similar to the team that we played against AZ Alkmaar and Astana in recent days, but that absolutely isn't the case. This team is very strong and much more similar to the sort of teams that we see in the Premier League. We're, of course, waiting for a thumbnail and a graphic for this so you can see the team more easily, but that's what we're trying to get as live as possible so that the graphic isn't even ready yet. That's how quick it is. But yeah, we'll go through the team one more time. We've got Sergio Romero in net. So again, I think he's got, 31 clean sheets in his 50 games for United, so he'll be looking to add another one to that. Ashley Young in there. I think some people were hoping to see Ethan Laird starting tonight, but it's Young that's been given the nod. I suppose these are the sort of games that he's going to be getting his chances in now, and maybe that suggests that he won't play at the weekend. We've then got Axel Twanzebe, which is good to see him back. I think this is his second start since his injury, I think. We've got Maguire as well. Obviously, Lindelof has been given a rest there, which is probably for the best because he's played a lot of games this season, and I think he got a bit of stick for the game at the weekend, obviously scoring that own goal, but I think that wasn't necessarily his fault. I think that was more just a sort of a collection of errors between De Gea and then him to a certain extent not being able to change his body shape and change the way he was facing, and the ball went in the net off him. So he's been given a rest. We've then got Luke Shaw at left back. Again, someone was in for a lot of criticism in the Everton game. He didn't seem to offer too much. He gave the ball away quite a lot. But again, he's been trusted over Brandon Williams, who is on the bench. I'll go through the bench as well. We've got Grant, Jones, Williams, Garnett, Lingard, McTominay and Chong on the bench. I'm slightly surprised no Williams, but maybe that again suggests that he will be playing in the game at the weekend. Into the midfield, then we've got Matic again, as I said before, who it does seem as though his position in the squad is sort of being marginalised into these cup games, into these so-called lesser games. Obviously, it's a quarter-final of a cup, so it's not too much of a small game, but not those sort of Premier League or Europa League games that mean a little bit more. Then got Andreas as well, who has been out of the starting lineup a little bit recently with Jesse Lingard coming back from injury, and sort of we're seeing a bit more of a resurgence out of Lingard in recent weeks. It seems as though Andreas has been the one that's been taken out of the starting lineup in Lingard's place. So he's dropped out of the Premier League team and into this team. So it would be a good chance for him actually to kind of silence some of his critics. I know obviously there's only so much you can do against Colchester, but I think it'll be good for him to get some game time and potentially sort of see a return to form from him. And then we've got Juan Mata, who I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen him against Everton. One of the players who, he makes good runs, he can pass the ball, he makes good chances, and he didn't play against Everton. Now we've got the graphic there, you can see as I'll carry on there. We've got Rashford on the left. I think it's good to see Rashford in these sorts of games, the sort of player that can create a goal out of nothing, as we've seen from him in the last sort of 2 or 3 months. His goal-scoring record and his ability to turn nothing into something might be the difference in this sort of game, which, let's face it, we've seen these kind of games prove sort of almost banana skins, even just this season. Obviously, the Rochdale game going to a penalty shootout, which was less than ideal. So then we've also got Martial up front. We've got Greenwood on the right. It's good to see him starting, again, following up his goal against Everton. He seems to score pretty much every time he plays. I think this season he's got a goal, since the end of November, should I say, he's got a goal or assist every 68 minutes for Man United. So quite ridiculous numbers, really, for someone his age. It would be nice to see him cutting in onto that left foot again in this game. Let us know what you think for the score prediction as well. Let us know what you think to the team. Carl Henderson saying it's a really strong team, way too strong a team, it feels like. Well, I think that just goes to show how highly Ole rates winning a trophy this season. I think that'd go a long way to silence some of his doubters. Ron Ragnar saying, beat at Russell Brand. I assume you're talking about me there. I did do a B-Tech actually, so that's not too much of an insult. Why not rest some key players like Rashford and Maguire? Again, I think Solskjaer is keen to win a trophy. One of the problems with, we've seen the complaints levelled at Pochettino and up until this season, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, is that they haven't won trophies. I think even if it is something like the Carling Cup, the Carabao Cup, we saw Liverpool go out last night. If we can win this trophy or get to a semi-final or a final at Wembley, I think that would, again, be a big feather in the cap for Solskjaer and something that he's not willing to risk us. Because also, let's face it as well, not only is it a good chance to win a trophy, if we lose to Colchester following a draw against Everton, I know we had the 2 wins against City and Tottenham, but before that it was another 2 draws. If we were to go out against Colchester, who have already beaten Tottenham and Crystal Palace in this run, that would be a real problem for Solskjaer, and again it would add fuel to that fire that is sort of still burning underneath him, even though it's a bit more of a simmer these days. That fire is still there. Mr. Frost going with 2-1 to United. Zakia saying such a strong team, defo didn't expect this. Well, yeah, I think you can sort of join the club with that one. A lot of people were expecting much more of an experimental team, maybe see Garner in that midfield, maybe see Ethan Laird, Brandon Williams, but he's gone with experience, especially, the likes of Young and Matic and Mata, that sort of up through the middle there. There's a higher average age in this team than we see in most of the league games. So it's definitely he's definitely going for some sort of solidity, and I think he's very keen to win this one without any dramas. He doesn't want to see United struggling or potential penalty shootouts when basically anything can happen. They've already won multiple games in this run from penalty shootout. Zakia saying sad Garner's not in. Yeah, who would you like to have seen in this lineup? Is this the lineup you'd like to see, or is there someone that you wish was playing that isn't playing? Do let me know in the comments. Garner should have been starting. It seems like Garner was a popular choice there. Happy Axel is playing. Mata is the right pick in this kind of game. Very surprised Tony is starting. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have been surprised to see a slight reshuffle with maybe Andreas on the right, someone else in midfield, Garner in midfield, and then take Martial off and put Greenwood up front. But it's what he's gone for. I think he, when you actually look at it though, Greenwood, Mata, Matic, Andreas, Young, Twanzebe, and arguably Shaw and Romero, that's 8 players that probably wouldn't be in United's first team. So even though it looks like a strong team that isn't particularly rotated, it's actually, 8 of the 11 aren't guaranteed a spot in the first team, and most of them wouldn't consider themselves first team players at all. So I think it's a more of a rotated squad than it looks like, because it has the likes of Matic and Mata and Young, who are such sort of old heads at the club. They've been here for a long time. They seem like they're our first choice players, but actually they aren't really anymore. So this is actually a rotated team. It just happens to be older than our first choice. Why Pereira? Well, I think he wants to give McTominay and Fred a rest, who have played a lot of football. And also, let's not forget Fred, who has played, I think, something like 13 of our last 16 games. Before that, he'd hardly played in a year. So I wonder what his fitness is like, coming from the Ukrainian league, and then not really playing for a year under Mourinho and then Solskjaer, and then all of a sudden playing every single game week in, week out. He's probably due for a rest. I'm sure he's feeling that in his legs now. And obviously McTominay, who's only just come back from an injury himself, and has played every game since that injury. I think, again, it's a good time to give him a rest. Right, that's going to be it for the team news then, as you see it there on the screen. We're going to be back at 7:45, which is obviously the kickoff. The game's very difficult to find. It's not on telly in Britain. So if you want to know what's going on, we're the best way to see that. So, yeah, exactly, Ronaldo in the background. So come and watch our watch-along starting at 7:45. Again, let us know what team you would have liked to have seen and which players you like in the comments. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.